It's Mommy and Daddy Lumpkin from the Lumpkin fam, and today we will do a review of Black Panther.
We thought it was great, but I'm gonna let you go first. Tell me, what were your thoughts? Everything, go for it. What were your overall thoughts on the movie?
So I have to say that this was not really on my radar. Okay, I'm not really into superheroes and all of that stuff. So honestly, it wasn't something that I wanted to see whatsoever. But Jason asked me last night if I could go today with him to the movie to see it. So I knew it was important to him. So I was like, you know what? I think I can steal away for a little bit and go with you to see the movie. And boy, am I glad I did. Like, it was awesome. I think for me that the movie was so based in the real world. I could really relate to the characters. So it really made me connect on a level that I have not been able to connect with other, I guess, superhero movies. So coming from someone who really did not have an opinion one way or the other prior to this coming out or prior to seeing this, I thought it was fabulous.
Yeah. So for me, I'm on the other end of the spectrum. From the Captain America and Civil War, where the characters first introduced, I couldn't wait till the movie came out. And my big concern was, I know it was delayed and different things like that, was I just hope they did it right. And I felt like they not only did it right, but I thought it was great all the way around. Not only was it a good story, and I'll take a step back for those who might not know anything about Black Panther, know what it's about. But basically, the story, which comes from Captain America: Civil War, T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman's character, the Black Panther, gets killed in this bomb that goes off with all the Avengers were there, and so then he ends up becoming the next king of this fictional country called Wakanda, and Wakanda is technology ahead of everything. There's this element that they have there, which is the most powerful element in the Marvel universe, and that's what is the source of all the power, all the weaponry, all the technology. So they're advanced, far more advanced than any other civilization on the world, but they stay isolated because they were so worried about people trying to rob and steal their technology and what they have. So that's kind of the basis is he becomes king, and then in becoming king, he takes on having to rule as king, and then kind of what happens after that. But for me, I thought it lived up to the hype. I thought it was great. I would see it again. That's how good I thought it was. So a couple questions we get out the bat. When we talked to people earlier, they were like, would you recommend it to kids? We're split on that. Kind of like, look, Siskel and Ebert, right?
Like, he's super conservative. So.
I am. So for me, I thought, as far as the story and everything else, is great. I don't think there's an issue with that, with taking kids. It's violence because it's an action movie, but it's not like blood and gore violence, like a horror movie or something like that. So I thought it was great. I don't think that part would be bad. To me, I would say there are some language, some profanity in there. It's not a profanity-laced movie all the way through. And so because of that, and keep in mind, my context, we have a 7-year-old, we have a 1-year-old. So like for me, my 7-year-old, who we watch movies and all that stuff, I wouldn't take her just because of that language, and she repeats everything. So that's for me. But she had a difference of opinion.
Yeah, so I mean, if your child is used to seeing these type of hero movies, I don't think that there was anything in this one that wasn't in Batman or any other superhero movie. So if they're used to seeing it, hey, why not?
Yeah, because I mean, and just to know, it's got a PG-13 rating, and I'm more the conservative type, and so for me, we got little kids, so I'm just like, I don't know, and then I don't know how I would handle it from there.
One of the things that really stood out to me, and I think another reason why I was able to connect so quickly with this movie, was the role of women. Like, they had some kick butt bad tail women in this movie, and I really felt like the main character, the Black Panther, was really surrounded by a group of women who really helped to make him who he was. So I think, for any girl who is not crazy about like male movies, even though I know it's not a male movie, but I mean, this type of things is really geared towards men. But I really believe like females could look at this movie and see themselves.
So I'll say this. For me, I totally agree with Sydney's point, as we talked about it after the movie. You don't realize how, so there's the two, Marvel and the DC. Those are the two big universes, if you will, when it comes to superheroes. So obviously DC has like Wonder Woman, right? That's their one. Like, that's their one. So that's their one. But then when it comes to Marvel, really, you think about it, it's male dominated. I mean, you have from like, I guess even Wolverine, but then you have you got Iron Man, you got Captain America, you got Thor, you got the Incredible Hulk, even they got Ant-Man, you got Deadpool, you got Luke Cage on Netflix, you got all these guys, and then even the women that you think about, I mean, you got Storm with the X-Men or Jean Grey, but they're kind of a part of a group. You got the lady that's in the Fantastic Four, but she's kind of a part of the group. And so I think the thing is, when you come to this movie, not only is it very obvious and apparent that you got this guy who's the Black Panther, but his fierce fighting force, led by General Okoye, the fiercest warrior in Wakanda, are all women, and they are bad. They got the spears and everything. They are tough. And then even his on again, off again girlfriend Nakia, played by Lupita Nyong'o, her character is kick butt as well, you know? And so the thing that stands out is just like the women are intentionally, I believe, prominent, but it's not to the point where it's unrealistic. It fits with how the story goes, but they're very, very much so present, more so than I've seen in any other Marvel film, and it's kind of dope. To be honest,
really
it's real
dope.
And even his sister in the movie, she is like kind of, if you think about, she plays Shuri. And so kind of like when you think like James Bond or how he has Q as the guy who has all the gadgets and all that, his sister is this technology and tech guru who gives him all the equipment. Even for her to be they're the brains behind the operation, even if he's the Black Panther and the King, he clearly doesn't do it alone. And to be honest, they're sharper and better than him in most parts, or a step ahead of him a lot of times throughout the movie. So I thought that was huge when it comes to the movie. So the big thing that we talked about, as far as, I guess, by way of discussion, is this. So you got these two main characters. You have Black Panther, Chadwick, the main character of the movie, but you also have Eric, which is played by Michael B. Jordan. And so it turns out Eric and him, they're cousins, right? That the father, who was the Black Panther, ends up killing his own brother to save Forrest Whitaker's character. And when he does that, they end up trying to make a decision, and they leave Michael B. Jordan's character behind to grow up in Oakland, California in 1992, in the hood or whatever it is. And so the thing is, there's this big dilemma that to me is very political and very timely, and it's to me, I think the question that it's kind of a U.S. question, but then it's a question that you have to think about. So on one hand, you got this series, this way of thinking of Wakanda, where it's like, okay, we're going to just protect our own, we're going to protect the resources we have, and even though we might see other people in trouble, they're not our concern. We're only concerned about ourselves. We're only concerned about our people and making sure our people are good, because these are our citizens. And so if our citizens are in trouble anywhere, we'll help them, but really we're not here to help anybody else. We're here to just really help and protect our legacy, our future, our culture, etc. That's one hand. But on the other hand, Eric returns after experiencing the worst of the worst in America, right? From Ray, because think about it, 1992 in Oakland, think about everything that he would have went through. OJ, Rodney King, riots, all this stuff were going to happen in his lifetime, growing up in that area there, the riots, everything else. So he's experienced the LAPD, the worst and the worst in his lifetime. And so for him, he now comes
angry,
back. Yeah,
okay?
yeah, exactly.
He was just this angry black kid, basically. And that really, to me, I think it showed that it was this kid who grew up and he survived, but there was this anger about how his life turned out and with his family, because obviously they realized that they intentionally left him. And so I even see it as him growing up without identity, to be real honest.
Or he had this chip on his shoulder, and it fueled his rage, his revenge. And so although he went to the military and became this decorated war hero, was in like these ghost mercenary groups for the government, CIA or whatever, it was all fueled by him being able to get this moment to go back and take over this throne, to get these weapons, to then go back and then destroy every oppressor in the world and start over, basically. To have anybody, any country, any place where someone was being oppressed, that they can then kill the oppressor. And it's a very...
The colonizers.
Yeah, the colonizers, that's what he called it. And it's a very interesting thing because it made T'Challa challenge what he thought was right.
Yeah,
and his
definitely.
wisdom. And so it's this one idea of, okay, if you are the strongest, if you have all the ability to help, if you're the one that's in power, do you have a responsibility to go and help other people who are being oppressed or being dominated by other people when you have the power to stop it? Or do you say, that's not my responsibility, this is my responsibility, and you just sit on the sidelines and watch people suffer? I mean, even though it's a movie, I think it's such a great point. I think although the error in Eric's ways, to me, was that his was fueled by revenge, and even though he had an opportunity to come back, right, he had a chance to, like, hey, we can restore you, right? Remember at that part where he's like, look, we can help you we can maybe bring you back and help you. He was like, no, I'd rather go with my ancestors, right? And that decided to jump off the boat instead of to live in captivity. I mean, it's this rebel spirit, but it's almost still misguided, because it's like you can have a chance to get what you want, but maybe not the way you want to do it. But it's like he wanted to die for his ideal, I think, which is tough, but I think it was good to see, I think, when you think about that. Two other powerful scenes for me in the movie was, one, when each character, Eric and T'Challa, both got a chance to they laid down in the thing and recovered when they took the Black Panther serum or whatever it is, and they got a chance to go and have talks with their father. I think both were great. For Eric's case, so Eric, this whole time being angry or whatever, when he got a chance to go back to talk to his father, who was played by Sterling K. Brown from This Is Us and everything else, yeah. What I thought was great was, it seemed like his father, who he himself wanted to try to help people in a similar way, when he got a chance to see what his son turned out to, realize that he had failed. And realize that even though his son almost took up his mantle, because he didn't have a chance to get it explained to him what the heart behind it was, he took the actions and totally misrepresented where his father's intentions were. And his dad was like, no, if you could have got an understanding of our people and what we're about and this tradition that we're from and this heritage of who we are, you would understand it's not about killing them, but it's still about helping them. So it doesn't have to be one or the other. And I think, to me,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what I was going to say too, I think that's also a lesson in families in general, because even, the sins that you commit come back later. And so when his brother killed him, I mean, he could have easily taken the son and took him back to Wakanda and raised him, but instead he left and tried to act like nothing happened.
Out of fear.
And so, and out of fear. And so, you, once again, I guess I go back to the thing of belonging. So here's this child who, the little time that he did have with his dad, was told stories about this fairy tale land. You living in Oakland and hearing these fairy tales, but you have no other connection to it. So, like, to me, it is like, he didn't have identity. That was robbed of him.
And I'll take it a step further. Think about the idea that his father planted this seed in him of this hope for something in the future, of this place that, to him, like he said at the end, I'm an Oakland kid thinking of these fairy tales. And so how many people get a dream for their father or a dream from a parent, but if there's no one there to help them walk it out, if there's no one there to support them to even go from where they are to that place, it seems like a fairy tale to graduate from college. It seems like a fairy tale to even graduate high school for some of these kids, because the dream that's been told to you that you can do this isn't. It's a quality decision, but you don't have anything to help you navigate that path to get there. And so then you end up in this position of the anger or the environment. You let the environment kind of poison you and poison your perspective. And although, again, it wasn't about talent, because everything he did, he excelled in, but he didn't see that, because all he saw was revenge, rage, and hurt from the stuff that was done to him, instead of taking that and finding a way to turn it into a positive. And it seemed like at the end he was so far gone he couldn't even do it then. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So as you can see, like it really made us think beyond this superhero character.
Yeah.
You know, I can't speak more highly of this movie, the symbolism. I mean, even just great content for teachers. You guys know that I'm a teacher. I believe that there's just so much rich dialogue and so many ways that you can connect elements of this movie to present day life, things that we deal with. So like Jason said in the beginning, and I'm still like so surprised that me of all people would say this, but I would pay to go see this movie again.
Yep. So,
I definitely think we have a hit on our hands.
So just as we wrap up, a couple things we want you guys to answer and comment down below about what you think of the movie if you've seen it. And also, what did you think about how the women were portrayed in this movie compared to the other movies? Also, what did you think about the perspective from T'Challa and Eric? Do you think one was right? Do you think one was wrong? Do you think Wakanda should help? Do you think Wakanda should take care of their own? What are your thoughts about this? I'm curious to see what you guys thought. Comment down below. We're going to reply and have a great conversation on this.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe.
See that little button right there? Oh, it's on that side, right there.
Bye.
Comment, subscribe below. See y'all.